Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terance Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. We are 1 week away from one of the biggest draft decisions for the Atlanta Falcons since drafting Matt Ryan at number 3 in 2008. As we said last week, Terence would do a mock draft. So it's time to reveal his draft selections and why he may have went with those players.
Well, you talked about the 2003 draft with Matt Ryan, but the 2001 draft was the big one for the Falcons. Had the number 1 pick overall and they pick Michael Vick, which was one of the talents that we may not see ever again. You talk about Lamar Jackson, and I think Michael Vick was ahead of Lamar because Michael could throw the ball. Vick was a good passer. If you look at his stats, he's did some remarkable things throwing the football. But and then Matt Ryan comes along, and now he's the franchise leader in every record there is. So now here we are in 2021, and that 4th pick is one that's been talked about across the league because it's funny because before we go into this mock draft, it's funny that people keep thinking BYU Zach is going the number 2 pick to the New York Jets. We don't know that for sure. How about this? Everybody assumed Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 pick in the draft. Jacksonville didn't say that's what they were going to do, but let's look at the history. Now, of course, Urban Meyer did not coach Justin Fields, but I guarantee you he had some input with Justin Fields leaving Georgia, getting to Ohio State. So I'm just throwing out theories that may just turn this draft upside down. But far as my mock draft for the Atlanta Falcons, hey man, I at the end of the day, I thought I did best as I could. I excited from the beginning, and then just plugged in spots towards the middle and late rounds. So the number 4 pick in this 2021 draft for the Atlanta Falcons will be tight end Kyle Pitts from Florida. That's my choice. I mean, you cannot pass. Look, this guy right here is probably you say these things without him even playing it down in the NFL, but if he can continue to grow and be that guy we think he's going to be one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game. And then 10, 12 years from now, we're going to be probably talking about Hall of Fame numbers if he stays healthy and he's in the right system. So that's my pick. 2nd round, here's a pick where we need to fill a spot because of offseason things that we did by letting safeties go, is Elijah Molden out of Washington. Here's a safety that can help us right away. He has a great grade. He's going to be in a defense that's going to allow him to be physical and not make any mistakes. So, and it's the front 7 is the big part of Pease's defense. The back end of it, just got to make sure they don't give up big plays. And this is a guy that won't allow big plays to happen. And you know what? In this 2nd pick, I was trying to get Najee Harris right there in that 2nd pick, but he didn't fall for me there. But I got lucky in the 3rd round with Travis Etienne out of Clemson. Now, him and Mike Davis together, 1-2 punch in that backfield. Oh my God, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna play 6 or 7 in the box and cover those dynamic receivers and let Mike Davis and Etienne eat up yardage, which they may end up averaging somewhere 150 to 175 yards plus as a unit per game? Oh, that puts you in the middle pack of offense and maybe the higher top 10 because the passing game is going to be there. That's championship caliber offense right there. And then a guy that Arthur Smith loved when he went to BYU is Brady Christensen. from BYU to tackle, and that's a spot that you can't go wrong there. You always got to stack up on big men right there. And then here's a guy that's a sleeper, defensive end, edge rusher out of Ohio State, Jonathan Cooper. Now, Jonathan Cooper, guys, you got to understand, you had Chase Young, you had all these guys, the Boza brothers, all these guys that there's a tradition of edge rushers from Ohio State. And here's the next guy that comes into the NFL and keep that tradition alive from leaving Ohio State and being an impact player in the NFL. And that's our guy. And the thing is, we didn't have to draft one early in the draft, early 1-2 pick, and now we saved some money with him. And then we're gonna have to, I'm not saying this is the guy that's gonna replace Julio in the next 2 or 3 years, but here's a guy that was high on everybody's list a year or two ago, was Frank Darby, wide receiver from Arizona State. And the thing is, he'll step in. There's no pressure on him to put up big numbers. So it gives him a chance to get his feet wet. By year 3, he'll be very, very good and will help us in that passing game if Julio decides to move on. And then you just, right now you plug it in. Aaron Banks, guard from Notre Dame. We need an interior player, a guy that can move around, may play some center, can play some guard for you. So that helps. And then we go in, the interior, you always got to have good interior guys where, because, Grady can't play every play. Davison, we don't know where he is health-wise. He can't play every play. So you pick up a guy like Jonathan Marshall out of Arkansas that could fit in there and be a piece for you right there. And the last pick of the draft, here's a guy right here that slipped this far, but he's a gem. He's a gem. Derek Forrest from Cincinnati, the safety from Cincinnati. Now, this guy has played in a pro-style defense. That defense from Cincinnati was lights out last year. Great defensive coordinator, moved on since then. So he's NFL ready. And for him to slip this late, yes, it's going to save us money, but it's going to make him hungry because he's going to be upset that he slipped this late, and he's going to play football for you, and he's going to be an impact player for you for the next 8 to 10 years.
Okay. Now we got a lot to unpack there, folks. You got Terance Mathis's mock draft. So now let's break it down and ask some follow-up questions. So let me ask you, for starters, were there any of the top QBs left when you selected Kyle Pitts at 4? Do you remember if any were left?
I think there was. Mac Jones was still there.
Okay. Trey Lance, maybe.
Trey Lance was still there whatsoever. But at the end of the day, man.
Let me ask you this then. So you don't have to worry about Mac Jones or Trey Lance. If Justin Fields would have been there, would you have taken him at 4?
I would have.
You would have, okay.
I would have. Here's a guy that's going to be an impact player in the NFL. This is the diamond position, is the quarterback position. That guy is the franchise setter. He's the game setter. He's the leader of the team. So you want a guy that can carry a team, that could demand a room, demand a huddle, and control a football game. And I think Justin Fields is one of those guys. Whoever draft Justin Fields is gonna really enjoy this young man, because at the end of the day, after all that's been said about him, oh man, he's gonna play with a chip on his shoulder. He has a lot to prove. And when you find a player like that and want to do everything necessary to prove you wrong, that he is a top caliber type quarterback, he can be dangerous.
Yeah, Justin Fields, I know yesterday, just a new, basically some new information, epilepsy diagnosis, I think that he released. I wonder if that's going to impact him, because as you were saying, the mock draft I had, I could never get Justin Fields at 4 either. He was he was always picked in the first 3 picks, which seems like that could still be a possibility. I want to rewind for a second. You were mentioning Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville. I don't know if you're aware, he got married recently, and all those fans from Jacksonville donated so much money and gifts to him. I'm almost wondering, are they locked in with that? Because of that? Is there something?
Well, you know what? This is the thing. The Jacksonville community, their fans are expecting Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
If you do anything different, Urban Meyer, you better pack up and leave right now. Because you're going to have a hard time convincing those faithful in Jacksonville and the surrounding areas why you didn't choose Trevor Lawrence with the first pick.
Okay, yeah. I think they would be highly upset, especially with all the lengths they've been going through to try to recruit him. Right. So we'll get back to your mock draft. Kyle Pitts, apparently he was only following one team on social media, and it was the Falcons.
Atlanta Falcons.
And the reason why I say was because apparently as of this morning, he is no longer following them either. So,
right. You know what?
Anything at all that he was following?
I think he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
I think he accomplished that he wanted to be in the discussions of being that 4th pick for the Atlanta Falcons. And he did a great job. He marketed himself to be a top 5 caliber pick in this draft. And I think he will be. And the thing is that he's done his job. You don't have to follow him anymore. Now it's up to the Falcons to do what they need to do. And that's draft him with the 4th pick.
Yeah, they add him to the Falcons. And like you said, if they get any of those backs, I just don't see how that offense on paper looks unstoppable. I know that's a cliche, but with Julio, Ridley, Kyle Pitts, Matt Ryan,
right.
Mike Davis, Hayden Hurst, they have 2 tight end sets.
Right.
I mean,
right. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you still got to stop people.
Yeah.
You can score 50. If they score 51, you still lose. So, at the end of the day, I truly think this defense is going to play better. I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to be sound. I think they move from the bottom tier of total defense to the middle tier of total defense. And I keep saying if they end up 15, 14, 15, 16 in total defense, and this offense is going to finish in the top 10, that's championship football. That's an opportunity to win the division and go on and play deep and hopefully play for the NFC Championship. And I'm not even talking about Super Bowl. I'm just talking about winning the division first and then go from there.
I agree. If you can get the Falcons defense below the top 20 defenses, then definitely, because, top 10 is a stretch. So we all know that. But anywhere in that median range, I agree that's going to be beneficial for the Atlanta Falcons going forward.
Right.
I, too, drafted Elijah Molden in a mock draft, well-rounded, a little on the smaller size for a safety, but he was a leader on that team. He was a QB for the secondary.
Yes.
That seems like that would be a solid pick in the 2nd round if they can snatch him up. And I don't know how you got Travis Etienne
in the 3rd round. Well, you know what? Traditionally, let's put it this way, 15 to 20 years ago, you would have seen 4 or 5 running backs drafted in the 1st round. But since the league has changed of what they do, throwing the football, quarterbacks, offensive line, defensive ends, those type of things, the running back position is one of those positions where, you can play running back by committee. So that's why these guys, even though they had great careers in college, they can be lost in the NFL to the dynamics of an offense. So, you have a Derrick Henry, which is, one of those things that just happened. A phenomenon just happened. But now there is more like an Alvin Kamara type running back in the NFL now. So, and it's running back by committee. So you get a guy like that who can line up in the slot, come out the backfield, catch balls, run a draw, big hitters, whatsoever. You have a chance to be successful in the running game.
Do you think? Well, let me ask you: did you try in the mock draft to trade the fourth pick?
You know what? I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. And I was going to go back and do it over again and try to trade that fourth pick and see how many picks that I could get. Um, but, and that's an option for the Falcons, because, you're not really hurting in any spot right now. The thing is, you can stack up on players for a future. If you can get 4 more guys or even 6 more guys for that draft pick, and then get a future first rounder, maybe top 15 pick next year, you in good shape. So I don't know.
When I tried it, I could never get anybody to accept my offers. I tried with Denver. I tried with New England. It just kept on rejecting my offers. And it wasn't nothing outlandish. I would swap their first with Atlanta's first, maybe a next year first. Right. Maybe that was it. Or I would.
You know what? I don't see anyone moving up this late, right now to draft, for that number 4 pick to draft the quarterback. I think everybody's going to sit still because after everything that has played out, there's some guys that may slip. Your Trey Lance may slip. Your Justin Fields may slip. As I keep calling him, BYU Zach. We don't know if that's the second pick for the New York Jets. We don't know that because we've been saying since the college season started and the NFL season started that Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields was going 1-2, and they thought it was going to be Jacksonville and New York. So now they just assume that that's what the Jets going to do is draft a quarterback or the quarterback that they think. I know he's a nice looking young man and he'll look well on Broadway, but looking well on Broadway don't win you football games. So at the end of the day, you better draft someone and a quarterback at that position that you feel that can win at least 2 to 4 games for you, and everybody else will win the rest. Your quarterback, you don't expect your quarterback to win every game, but when put in a situation to win a game, he better win those games. He better be over 500 in winning those games.
All right. Your 4th round pick, Brady Christensen, be a big offensive tackle. He's a fit for that power running scheme with Arthur Smith. So that might be something that they implore with him on the team, and possibly draft a guy like that because
you know what? He may move up as early as the 2nd round pick for them, because at the end of the day, it's a need for the Falcons. It's a big need for the Falcons. So, but if he's still there, in that 4th round, that's a steal for the Falcons.
Yeah. And Jonathan Cooper, you mentioned him, like you said, previous episodes. Edge rush from Ohio State.
Yes.
And as you said, they were deep at that position in Ohio State in his younger years. So that contributed to his lack of production because of playing time where Chase Young and other guys.
Right.
But he had a great Senior Bowl week, and I think it would be a steal if you could get someone like that caliber late in the draft.
And the reason why I say it's a steal is because of the fact that he hasn't played a lot because he had guys in front of him. So he's healthy, he's hungry, and at the end of the day, it's a good pick for the Falcons because you didn't have to go early in the draft, like number 2 or number 3, and you have to pay him a whole lot of money. Because right now it's about saving money for the rest of these picks here for the Atlanta Falcons. Definitely. So the thing is, this is a bargain. You got a bargain of a deal if you can get this guy at this pick, and he'll come in and be a difference maker for this defense.
I guess it remains to be seen on what they're going to do as far as the edge rusher. Like I said, I imagine they're going to take one in the draft at some point, and that'll be something else if they land Jonathan Cooper.
Yes.
I also looked at your Frank Darby, receiver out of Arizona State, played under Herm Edwards, and Herm Edwards has put out some good receivers the last couple of years that have come out of there. So that may be another steal that comes late in the draft for the Falcons.
Well, yeah, Darby truly believes he's one of the top 3 or 4 receivers in this draft. And Herm Edwards would tell you the same. And for him to slip this late It has to be something to do with, pro day or something like that, where he didn't run as well or productive at the end of the season whatsoever. But he's been productive throughout his Arizona State career. You got to look at the body of work. You can't just take one season or half a season or a couple of games. You got to look at the whole body of work. Where he started from, did he get better each year? Because that means he's going to progress when he gets to the next level. So the thing is, for him to slip this late and be there, here again, this is a good fit for the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay. Also, I think a good fit is the Aaron Banks. I think that also plays a part in that power running game that you mentioned.
Exactly, because the Fighting Irish ran the ball well. They protected the quarterback decently, but what they did really well was run the football. And this fits right up the alley for what Arthur Smith wants to do with the type of backs that we have. So you got to understand, if you draft the ETN and you have a Mike Davis, these are two backs that you don't have to sustain blocks as long as you get there. By the time you complete impact with your defender, that running back should be gone. So you have two running backs that are explosive on their first steps. That's going to hit the hole. There's not going to be any dancing. So here's a guy that can come off the ball, be physical, but don't have to worry about sustaining. So this is another inside guy at guard. You can play him at center. This is a good fit.
Okay. Jonathan Marshall looks like he played just 1 year as a starter as Arkansas, but he had a heck of a pro day. And he's also a big fella that, like you said, to help fill in those holes when Grady and Tyler Davison might need a break.
And he's played in the SEC, yeah. And that's huge. So he's played against some quality offensive linemen. He played against some quality offensive schemes, and he did well. And like you said, on his pro day, he had an outstanding pro day. And here's a young guy that's still learning the game whatsoever. So you have time to mold him to the type of player you want to be. He's not who he should be yet. Yeah. So that's a good thing, because now you can mold him into what you want him to be in your scheme.
Okay. And last, if it was the NFL draft, what they call him, Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Our last pick, or Terence's last pick, is Derek Forrest from Cincinnati.
Yeah. He may not even be there. Mm-hmm. The thing was, in this mock draft that I did, it was just fortunate that he was there because he has an A- grade. So this is the thing, is with this type of grade and you get this guy this late, here again, here's a guy who probably saying, I'm easily one of the top 4 safeties in the draft. And then I get picked this late.
He's going to be mad.
He's going to be mad. So I want this guy because I will pull him in my office and say, how you feel, man? How you feel? You slipped that late? How do you feel? He can't get mad at the organization because it wasn't us who did it. You see what I'm saying? So it's at the end of the day, he's going to prove to the other 31 teams that he can play football. And I feel sorry for those receivers that come across the middle. I feel sorry for those tight ends. I feel sorry for those backs who get past those linebackers, and he's the last line of defense because he's going to put his helmet on you because he's going to be upset.
Well, there you have his mock draft. I guess we'll find out next week how many maybe he got right or close to. But again, it's tough. This is a crapshoot.
It's tough.
It's a crapshoot because that whole mock draft is predicated off of what the computer picks in front of you. So
is that. But if I'm 80% correct, they better send me a check. Or they better hire me because, hey, look, it is what it is. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would. It definitely would. I know you said you don't expect any trade people to move up. Do you think the Falcons will maybe trade any other things or any other picks or maybe a player on draft day, or do you think the Falcons are just going to draft what they have?
Well, you know what? You have a new GM, you have a new head coach, and the thing is, your first year, I think me personally, the first year, I just keep it as status quo and just go ahead and draft. And then start figuring out after my first season where I am and where I think I need to be in the next 2 or 3 years. So right now, you have a nucleus of guys that you know can play. So you don't want to mess up this draft by doing too much. You just want to fill in spots, get some impact players, save some money, and go forward and go ahead and win a division this year. And then as you go forward, now you can start moving around and say, hey, we need more picks. All right, we're picking 28th, you know, in a 2022 draft, whatever it may be, because of our record. So you're feeling good now because now you're really saving money, and now you're just plugging in where you need. You know, when you're drafting 15 and higher, it's because you need football players because you didn't have a good year. Yeah. So and then 20 or later, you're sitting in the middle of the road. It's not much need, but there's impact players there that can help you right away.
I wanted to say, fans, we got the draft next week. Send in any comments on what y'all thought to the Falcons should have drafted, or if you like the draft pick and which they end up selecting next week.
Right.
It's time for Terance's Throwbacks.
Oh, wow.
Tell us about your draft day experience.
It was the worst experience of my life. Going into the draft, it was I was projected as one of the top 3 receivers picked in the draft in the 1990 NFL draft. And all the way up until draft day, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. And I'm going to say this, I know what happened. Mel Kiper happened. As I always say, during the week of the draft or the draft day or the day before, Mel Kiper or Todd McShay decides they want to flip on some guy where he may lose his first round, second round, third round grade and drop down. I guess in 1990, I was that guy in the receivers group because, I had a big draft party. I said, hey, I go no later than the third round. That's what I thought. And it never happened. Never got a phone call, nothing. My agent kept calling me. I had this big old party, probably 50, 60 people whatsoever. And we had multiple TVs, this and that. And after the second round went, and I went back into the back room and I was like, oh my God, because the Jets at that time drafted Reggie Rimbert. And then there was some other guys and I was like, wait a minute, they didn't have the body of work that I had. But at the end of the day, I was 5'10", 158 pounds, ran best 40 I ran at the time was a 4.5, but I was more quicker than I was fast. So that I had a great Senior Bowl. I had 3 touchdowns in the Senior Bowl. Wow. So it was one of those things, I thought Kansas City was going to, because they were the team that coached, I thought they were going to draft me. Then they ended up drafting Fred Jones out of Grambling before me. And I was like, what? Hold up. Matter of fact, Fred Jones and I went to school together at Southwest DeKalb High School early on. So I know Fred very well. And I was like, I was happy for him, but I was like disappointed that they chose him. But then it never happened. It never happened. And then the next day I get a phone call from the New York Jets in the 6th round. And I was the second pick in the 6th round by the New York Jets, the 18th receiver drafted that year. And why did you do that? Because I was going to make you pay. And I had 13 incredible years with a chip on my shoulder. And it goes to tell you, and I always tell young people, it doesn't matter who drafts you or where you get drafted. Your job is to go to camp and stay there and be there as long as you can and make an impact.
Wow. I appreciate that story. I hate you had to go through that. Did the friends and stuff still around when you did get picked? I know it was a couple days later.
No, nobody really knew until, the news came out later that evening that I was drafted by the New York Jets. So we didn't have the internet and all this other stuff back then in the 1990s. So you wouldn't know until the news came on at 6 o'clock. So,
but you didn't have any friends or nothing around you at the
no,
time.
no, matter of fact, I wasn't even home when that happened.
Okay.
When I got home, there was a message.
Oh,
and
old
I
school
checked the
voicemail.
message. And then I called my agent and we had a conversation, and then I had talked to the Jets, and it was time to go play football.
Who was the coach of the Chiefs at the time? Marty Schottenheimer?
Schottenheimer.
Okay.
What a great man. Tony Dungy was the defensive back coach at the time.
All right.
That's where I first met Tony, and me and Tony had a great connection ever since.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Amazing story. I appreciate you sharing that draft story. And I hope that some of the players out there that are, potentially getting drafted next week are listening, so they understand that it's not the end of their journey by far.
Right.
They can still write their own story.
Yeah, still can. And I'm working on a book right now about all that.
Okay.
I'm working on a book right now. I can't tell you when it's going to be done, but I've been writing a book for a while now. And my journey will be in there from early days into where we are today. So it's going to be a phenomenal book.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. It's that time. I want to thank you all for joining us and tuning in. Terence?
This is the thing. Right now, all the anticipation, all the drama, all the arguments, you're going to have to, after the draft, you call your friends that you are not talking to anymore because of this fourth pick, because of disagreement, mend these relationships, and then we get into the meat of where this Falcon organization is going to go after this draft. And remember, free agency still is not over. So we still have a chance to put together a fantastic football team that can win a division and go on deep into the playoffs.
All right. Hopefully the Falcons don't blow it.
Hey, look, and if they don't draft Kyle Pitts number 4, don't blame me, because I was not in there. That was I wasn't in there. So don't be getting on me and say you said. Yeah, that was my thought. But that's what I said I would do if I was in that meeting room.
Okay. And remember, Bob said Sewell, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Peace.